Hi, the theme for this summer is Raise Your Voice. And if you've read the syllabus, and I'm assuming you have, you know what I mean. You know that I believe you all have things to say. Now, a lot of us are cautious about saying those things. We don't want pushback. We're not sure people will take us seriously, or we're not sure we can say what we want to say adequately. And this summer, I want to give you a chance to raise your voice, to make your message matter on some things that matter to you. This is writing in various situations, which means you're not just writing for school in this course. Now, obviously you are. Obviously, this is still a course, but I'm going to ask you to say things that you care about, and I'm going to give you opportunity to choose the audience you want to address, to adapt to your audience, to your purpose. Now, before we begin, I want to invite you to join with me in acknowledging the Kumeyaay Nation. These are the people who inhabited San Diego County before the arrival of the Europeans. I want to invite you to join with me in acknowledging that all our homes, our neighborhoods, our university, and even our country exist on the lands of Native people. And these lands were stolen from them. In essence, most of us in America benefit because of the theft in some way. I believe it's important that we face this history and that we seek out the stories that reveal the daily lives of those Native peoples, how they interacted with each other and their land, and that we recognize the violence that forever changed the way they live. I believe that as we recognize the injustices of the past, we can move forward to seeking justice for the future. Thank you. Now, today's agenda. These are 4 things that I want to talk about, and hopefully I can say them really, really quickly so that this video isn't too long and you can move on to the stuff you actually get points for. Now, these are 5 foundational ideas about writing, and I want to talk about each of them because this is what I want you to come away with. The first thing is all writers have more to learn. No matter how good a writer you are, you have more to learn. I have more to learn. We all have more to learn. And I think that it's really important that we see that. So we aren't beating each other up when our writing isn't quite where we want it to be. That we have courage to write and not have it be perfect. The second thing is that writing varies by situation and context. What do I mean? I mean, if you're writing a lab report, it's going to be different than if you're writing an essay for a political science class. And that's going to be different than if you're writing a resume. And that's going to be different if you're writing a poem. It's also going to be different who you're writing to. And I think that it's important because the writing skills that we use for some projects are going to be different than the writing we use for other projects. And that leads into the third thing. Writing is a process, but not the same process for every text or every person. You're going to do a lot of reflective writing in this class. And the process for those is probably just going to be writing what you're thinking. Whereas when you are writing a personal essay or a poem, there's going to be planning, but the planning for the personal essay is going to be different than the planning for the poem. And my process might be different than yours. The fourth thing is that writing or literacy involves aspects of identity. Who I am comes out in my writing. It comes out in all my literacies. I have a distinct culture, and you're going to see it in everything I say. You're going to see my interests, my passions, my use of language. This is my identity. And when you hear me, when you read what I write, you're going to get a really good sense of who I am. The fifth thing that I want you to think about is writers learn from knowledgeable peers. The more I share writing with my peers, the more I learn. I learn about life, I learn about myself, and I learn about writing. The same is true for you, and that's why this isn't an individual class. You are going to be working collaboratively. Yes, I know asynchronous collaborative work can be challenging, but trust me, I don't know. Yes, trust me, it's all going to work out. Now, think about these things, because at the end of the week, I'm going to ask you which one of these things stands out most to you. Now, the next thing on my list is, what do I mean by identity? Well, it is who I am. I'm a cisgendered female who's old-ish, and I have an advanced degree. All of these things are shaping me. Obviously, I'm white. I was raised in the 60s and 70s, so all of that influenced me. I homeschooled my kids. I was raised in a church. I like to play cards. I like to go wine tasting. All of these things are part of my identity. I'm a little too serious. I'm a perfectionist. These things come out in who I am. These things seep into my writing. They seep into my teaching. And the more I identify who I am, the more I can think about, who do I want to be? Are there aspects of myself I want to modify? And I can think about, what parts of myself do I want to convey to this audience or this audience? I can tell you, when I'm playing cards with my friends, I'm a very different, my identity, the identity I convey is very different than when I'm in a department meeting. It's not that one identity isn't real and one identity is, it's just that I'm showing different parts of myself depending on the situation. It's why I write differently depending on what I'm writing. Why does identity matter? Because our identities shape our experiences, and our experience shape our perspectives. And we learn when we listen to people whose identities, experiences, and perspectives are different than our own. We're going to reveal bits and pieces of ourselves through our writing, and that's good because it helps us build ethos. And that leads me to this idea: how are identity and ethos connected? Well, ethos, if you remember from studying Aristotle's Appeals, is my trustworthiness, my credibility. It's that identity that makes my audience trust me. Now, in order to persuade, we have to demonstrate that we're worth listening to and that we can be trusted. Aristotle observed speakers and writers are more likely to build trust when they do 5 different things. They don't have to do all these 5 different things, but they should do some of them. If they seem knowledgeable, we're more likely to trust them. If they seem objective, like they're fair, we're more likely to trust them. If they seem to share our values, we're more likely to trust them. If they seem concerned for the things that we're concerned for, we're more likely to trust them. And if they seem good or honorable or virtuous, we're more likely to trust them. And here's the funky thing. I might be knowledgeable in some areas and not in others. I might seem objective to some people, but not to other people, because I don't share their values. So all of this depends on audience, because one person trusts me, one person thinks I'm conservative, and one person thinks I'm a flaming liberal. It just depends on who they are, the way they regard me. And so the identity I convey influences whether or not my audience trusts me. And that means I have to know myself and I have to know my audience. Now, what makes you an authority that someone might want to listen to on a topic? Yeah, your identity is a key part of that. And so you're going to want to think, what part of your identity do you want to reveal in your writing? Why? Think about it and think about what the best ways are to do that. Bell Hooks wrote a book, Teaching to Transgress. And she puts this idea in a way that makes sense to me. She says, in our everyday lives, we speak differently to different audiences. And we communicate best by choosing that way of speaking that's informed by the particularity and uniqueness of whom we are speaking to and with. Basically, she's just said the thing that I spent 4 slides saying, is we need to think about specific characteristics, assumptions, beliefs that an audience has, and then we adapt to that audience, not to be fake, but in order to connect with them and to communicate effectively. And that's what we mean by writing rhetorically. Now, final thing, and I'm going to wrap up. You're going to write for a variety of audiences, and you're going to have a variety of purposes in this course. You're going to write a blog, and that blog is going to be written to this class. You're going to write discussion board posts, and they will also be directed to the students in this class. So you have to think, who do you believe the students in this class are? And what's the best way to connect with them? You're going to be doing a lot of responsive writing, like you're going to read and annotate, or you're going to read and communicate, here's what I think. And so these are written for a different type of audience. You're going to create 2 Your Say essays. And you're probably wondering, what a strange name. I didn't make this one up. These are essays that the San Diego Union Tribune, I don't even know how to say this. Yeah, these are published in the paper every Saturday morning. So every Saturday morning, they give a new prompt. The papers are due on Wednesdays, and then they choose the ones they want to post. And they're called Your Say, and they're a response to community issues, things that matter to San Diego County and to the nation. And you're going to write 2 of those. And you will get 100% if your essay is published. In my class last semester, I had 5 students get published. It was super exciting. First time a student got published, I actually cried because it meant so much to me. That's a whole other story. You're also going to write a personal essay that might be published in a magazine. So you're going to be thinking about who is the audience that reads that magazine and how do you communicate deep ideas to that audience. And finally, you're going to write an essay that reflects on your learning. And that's all I've got. Well, it seems like I should end a lot more nicely than that, but really, that's all I've got.